This morning, you woke up to an alarm. You checked your phone before your eyes fully adjusted. You had somewhere to be at a specific time. Something due, something unfinished from yesterday. Now imagine a different morning. No alarm, no clock. You wake when the sky lightens and the air shifts around you. The people you love most in the world are sleeping within arm's reach. You have nowhere to be. Nothing is late. Nothing is owed. That was every human morning for 300,000 years. And the people who still live that way, the last hunter-gatherer communities on Earth, work roughly 2.5 hours a day. Most of us hit that before lunch. Your camp is small, 25, maybe 30 people. You have known every single one of them your entire life. Your grandmother sleeps a few feet from your children. There are no strangers here. Everything you own fits in a single bag. A digging stick, a few animal hides, beads traded from someone in a camp a day's walk away. The first thing that happens when the camp wakes is not work. It's talking. Anthropologist Polly Wiesner spent years recording conversations among the Jew/Hwansi Bushmen of the Kalahari. She found that the first hours of every morning were almost entirely conversation, not small talk. The conversation was the operating system of the camp. Who is struggling? Who needs help? Who has been quiet lately and might be sick? This is also the entire legal system. The Kung Bushmen of the Kalahari had no chief, no court, no police. What they had was each other's attention. If a man took more than his share, people made quiet jokes about it until he stopped. If someone became dishonest, the whispers reached every camp within a day's walk. If you became truly unbearable, eventually no camp would take you in. That was the harshest punishment they had. It was almost never needed. In 1969, anthropologist Richard Lee discovered this firsthand. He had lived with the Kung for years and wanted to do something generous at Christmas. So he bought the biggest, fattest ox he could find and brought it to camp. The Kung mocked it for weeks. They told him the ox was skinny, the meat would be terrible, that he had wasted everyone's time. Lee was confused. He had checked the animal carefully. Finally, he asked an elder what was happening. The elder explained simply, when a hunter brings home a great kill, the camp doesn't celebrate it, they mock it. The bigger the kill, the harder they mock. That is how no one is ever allowed to feel above anyone else. They had been doing the same thing to Lee. He had brought something generous, so they had to cut him down to size. We built courts and prisons to keep order. They handled it by talking to each other. Mid-morning, the men gather for the hunt. Hunting is dramatic. It is also unreliable. Anthropologist Frank Marlowe studied the Hadza of Tanzania for decades and found that on any given day, most hunters come home empty-handed. A successful large kill happens once every few days, sometimes less. A hunter might walk 20 miles, track a wounded animal for hours, and return with nothing but sore feet and a few small birds. But when they connect hard. Their arrows are tipped with poison from the sap of a desert rose. They shoot, then follow the animal patiently for hours while the poison does its work. They have brought down giraffe this way. And yet the hunters are not the ones who feed the camp. The women are. Among the Hadza, women provide more than half of all calories. They go out in groups every morning and come back with steady, reliable food that doesn't depend on luck. The men feast the camp occasionally. The women feed it every day. The most productive gatherers in the camp are usually not the young mothers. They are the grandmothers. Women in their 50s and 60s consistently bring back more food per day than anyone else. Many are still walking 5 to 10 miles a day well into their 70s. Anthropologists call this the grandmother hypothesis. It may explain one of the strangest facts in human biology. We are the only primate species whose females live for decades past the age of reproduction. The theory is simple. Grandmothers feeding their grandchildren made the entire species more successful. We didn't just evolve longer lives. We evolved longer lives specifically so that older women could keep feeding people. The children come along too. A 3-year-old plays with a small digging stick next to her mother. By 6, she can find food on her own. By 10, she is genuinely contributing to the family. This is the school humans evolved to attend. Watching, copying, playing at the work being done right beside them. When the midday heat arrives, everything slows. Nobody works through the heat. This is not laziness, it is intelligence. The body needs rest. The day has already given what it needs to give. People nap in shade. They repair tools. They sit close together. They share food the moment it arrives back at camp. Not later, not when it's convenient. Immediately. Sharing is not generosity here. It is the rule. If a Hadza man kills a large animal, he does not own that meat. He distributes it. He himself often receives one of the worst cuts. Anthropologists believe this constant tracking of who gave what to whom, who helped when it mattered, who quietly disappeared when things got hard. That social arithmetic may have been one of the things that built the human brain into what it is. Generosity was the savings account. Reputation was the currency. Late afternoon, the pace returns. People visit neighboring camps a few miles walk away to trade, to see relatives, to arrange marriages, to carry news. By adulthood, a Hadza person knows more than 100 people personally, every one of them by name and full history. The hunters return. Some days there is a kill. Most days there isn't. The women who gathered all day quietly become the heroes of the evening, which happens most of the time without anyone saying so. Then comes the meal. The whole camp together, roasting roots in coals, sharing meat, sitting close in the cooling air. They have done this together every single evening for 300,000 years. This is not paradise. They bury children. They lose people they love. They get sick without medicine and sometimes don't recover. They grieve exactly the way we do. But there are certain things they don't seem to have. An anthropologist studying all of this in the late 1960s called ancient humans the original affluent society. He didn't mean they had wealth. They had almost nothing. He meant they had time and proximity to the people they loved, and work that was finished when the day was done. We made real trades to get here. Vaccines, medicine, longer lives, fewer children dying before they turned 5. The trades were worth making. Most of them clearly were. But trades are rarely clean. Something comes in, something else shifts. What exactly shifted is harder to name. Researchers are still trying to understand it. Why rates of loneliness and anxiety rose alongside material comfort. Why people in wealthy countries report feeling less connected than their grandparents did. It may not have a simple answer. Human life changed in ways that solved old problems, and quietly created different ones. And some mornings, for a moment, you can almost sense the shape of what changed, even if you can't quite name it.